Hi, I'm Christine. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm here with some Mafia Romance Recs. Alright, so I'm here today with I think about 20 Mafia romances to recommend you. This is a trope, a subgenre of romance that I love so much, and recently I have read a lot of newer release ones, so I wanted to include some of those as well as some like oldie favorites as well. And I can't wait, so let's get into it. As always, if you ever want to see more of my thoughts or full reviews on any of these books that I'm about to talk about, because I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, my Goodreads is always linked below, and that's where I review every single book that I read. I will also list all of these books in the description below as well, so if you miss any and want to go back and grab any of the ones I'm recommending, the titles and the authors will be linked below for you as well. So let's get into it. So first up, one of the ones that made me want to do this video is the new release from Gabrielle Sands. So this is Be With Me. This one I really enjoyed. It's the start of a new series from this author. This was the first book I read from this author and I really enjoyed it and want to definitely check out more from her in the future. This one was a lot of fun if you want a hero obsessed with the heroine. The hero in this one is definitely that. Basically in here it is a kind of opposites attract, maybe like enemies to lovers setup, because in here the heroine, her father is running for mayor and his whole campaign is kind of centered around trying to take down the mafia families of New York, and that is what the hero's family is a part of and that he's a part of. And so in here you see the hero and the heroine meet at the beginning of the story, where she just kind of like accidentally falls into his world and she kind of is put onto his radar, slash when he realizes who exactly she is and that she is the daughter of the mayor to be, he is very intrigued with her and wants to find out everything he can for his family, as well as he's just super pulled and super obsessed with her. And so it kind of goes from there. The heroine here is a kind of fashion stylist, which I thought was really fun. And you see in here how the hero is just so obsessed with her from day one and wants to be a part of her world, a part of her life. It goes from there. I love this one so much. Highly recommend. It is on Kindle Unlimited. All right, the next one is My Dark Fairy Tale by Gianna Darling. This is another new release. This one is on Kindle Unlimited and it comes with the read and listen feature. So if you grab the Kindle Unlimited ebook, you'll get the audiobook with it while you have the book checked out from KU. This is the first book in a duet and I really enjoyed this one. This one starts off with the heroine and it is the summer after either she graduated high school, about to go to college, or she's in college, something like that, but she decides to go to Italy for the summer. And you see in here how her father is Italian, but basically her family has always warned her against going to Italy. And so of course that only makes her want to do it more. And so she decides to take off. She goes to Italy and on her first day there, her car breaks down and you see the hero kind of comes in and saves her from a situation, and he kind of whisks her away and takes her with him to his house and kind of sets her up with him for the summer. And the hero in here is a mafioso, and so he just kind of takes her into his life and doesn't tell her who he is. And so you kind of see that hidden identity, very much like a billionaire, age gap, let me take care of you vibes. This one's a lot of fun, set in Italy, so it has that gorgeous Italian setting. The audiobook in particular is so good with the hero's Italian accents. Highly recommend. Does end on a bit of a cliffhanger, but the second book comes out I think this fall, so highly recommend this one as well. Next up is The Hunter by Tara Crescent. So this is the 5th book in her Venice Mafia series. This whole series is a lot of fun. They're on Kindle Unlimited. They have audiobooks as well. This book in particular was fun because it is a bit of a second chance with like a twist. So this is if you love like Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes or Kill Bill vibes, this book definitely has all of that going on. So in here the hero and the heroine are married. They're both assassins and they've actually both been thinking for years that their spouse is actually dead. And so at the start of the story you see that they kind of realize that neither of them is dead like they thought, and so now they're back in one another's lives, and it's very much like cat and mouse vibes between them, with the hero trying to track down the heroine, find out what's going on because she is basically put on his hit list, and he realizes like, hold up, wait a minute, this is actually my wife. And so it goes from there of him trying to track her down. She is very much like a black cat energy. The hero is a golden retriever. It goes from there. The whole series is a lot of fun. They're all like Venice Mafia, set in Italy romances. Highly recommend this one. So much fun, especially if you love, like I said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes. Next up is Devil of Devlin by B.E. Easton. So this is a special edition cover. I love this one so much. This is a book that was on my favorites of the year list back in, I want to say 2022 when it came out, and I read it. I love this one. It takes place in Ireland and we get this kind of second chance slash situation where the hero and the heroine have been childhood friends and they would see one another every summer when she would come to visit. And they're very kind of like from different worlds, but also you see that their worlds are actually colliding. And so we cut to years later and the heroine is back in Ireland for for reasons, and the hero comes back into her life, and it kind of goes from there. Another one that is just very like atmospheric and almost like a magical, whimsical vibe to it, but like in a dark setting. I really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend. I love that whole childhood friends to lovers setup, and now like years later seeing one another again. It goes from there. Hero's very protective. So much fun. Next up is Violent Delights by Jessica Hawkins. So this is the first book, part of a trilogy where we're following the same characters, and this one is so much fun. This is an older series and I love it to pieces. This one takes place around the Mexican cartel, and in here the heroine is kind of a bit of a princess to that world, and in here she is engaged to kind of her best friend, her childhood best friend, who's her first love, all of these things, and then his kind of bad boy brother comes around, and he is a bit of an enemy to their family, to their situations, and you kind of see it get complicated from there with a lot of like protective vibes, all of that. This one is a lot of fun. This whole trilogy, loved it to pieces, but the first book's definitely my favorite. Highly recommend the whole series. It's so much fun and I really enjoyed this one. Next up is His Tesoro by Amelia Rossi. This is the first book in her Empire of Royals series. This one is so much fun. So this one has an arranged marriage setup where basically the heroine, her father is kind of in the mafia world. I want to say they live in Chicago, and basically she's very much like been protected and kind of sheltered from the life. She doesn't even get to leave her house, let alone the city. And the hero in here, he is the mafia don of like the 5 families in New York. And so there's an arranged marriage setup that her father sets up with the hero. And so the hero shows up, and like on their wedding day is when they first meet. And in here, the heroine is a wheelchair user. And so you see how the hero is kind of blindsided by that. Like he didn't know anything about the heroine, didn't know anything about what her life was like. And so he's kind of taken aback, but at the same time, so protective and so caretaking, and just wants to spoil her and take care of her while also kind of keeping her at a distance at first. It goes from there. I loved this one. It has age gap. Like I said, that disability rep done so well. Highly recommend. I loved this one. Speaking of that series, the second book in it is His Juliet, and this one just came out this spring. I enjoyed this one as well, but I think the first book is still my favorite. So in here, the hero, they're kind of like interconnected because the hero in this one is the right-hand man to the hero of the first book. And so it's set in New York, and you see at the start of the story, the hero is on the run, and he has to hide out at this little bookshop to kind of, keep out of people's eyes for a little bit. And so he ends up spending the night there, and the heroine is there because she's the manager of the bookstore. So it's after hours, and he kind of traps her in there with him. So they spend the night getting to know one another. This is another one where the hero is obsessed with the heroine immediately and wants to just spoil her and take care of her and send her meals and take her home. He installs like security cameras to make sure she gets home safely. He's very obsessed. This one I like the rep in it as well. The heroine has agoraphobia, and so you kind of see the hero just want to be there to protect her, take care of her, make sure she's safe and comfortable. I really enjoyed this one. This is one where he has to kind of, for safety reasons, take her and make her live at his home with him. And it goes from there, and the whole like found family, found friendship setup is so good in this one as well. Next up is Passion and Venom by Shanora Williams. So this is the first book in a trilogy from this author, and this one has a setup that I will never forget. So this one starts off, the heroine is her wedding day. She just married her like love, and they're so happy, and they're on their way to kind of, their honeymoon or whatever. And so they leave their wedding venue, and their car gets attacked. Her husband gets killed in front of her, and she's taken captive. And it kind of goes from there. This one is very much captive vibes. I feel like all these books in general, you can assume they're darker romances. This one in particular though is very much into those darker themes, and it has a lot of violence and gore on page. So just know that, check your content warnings, but I feel like if you're reading mafia romances, you're kind of expecting a little bit of violence. So this one definitely so much fun, very much drama over the top, but I feel like for the start of the trilogy, definitely hooks you and so much fun. All right, so next up is the Kings of Italy series by Mila Finelli. So I have 2 books, which are my favorites. We will talk about them kind of separately. So first up is Mafia Mistress. This is the start of the series, and this one is really fun. So in here, the heroine's living in Canada, and her father is a part of the mafia, and you see how the heroine and her sisters have been kind of sheltered from that life, and the heroine thinks that her father's just going to let her marry somebody outside of that lifestyle, do what she wants. Of course, that's not the case, and she's kind of set up in this arranged marriage with the hero's son. And so the heroine is whisked away to Italy, and the hero's kind of the head of the mafia families in Italy. And like I mentioned, it's a relationship with her betrothed's father instead. And so it goes from there. You see in here how the person she's engaged to, they do become friends, and it goes from there because it's like an arranged setup. So neither of them like really wanted it. And it's just so much fun. I love the setup for this whole series. This one's just very like scandalous, salacious, like really pulls you in, and it is just an adventure. I enjoyed this one. It has age gap. It's so much fun. So this book and then the second book in the series actually follow this same couple, and they're just really fun. And then the third book in the series is Mafia Madman. And so this follows a different couple. So the heroine heroine of here is the sister of the heroine of the previous books, and the hero in here is a mafia guy as well. And this one has captor captivity setup. This is actually my favorite in the whole series. I love this one so much. Just the lengths that the heroine and the hero both go for one another is so good, so much fun. Like I said, it has that captor captivity setup. They're on a boat together, and it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend. All right, next up is Reaper by A. Zavarelli. So this whole series is so good. This is the second book, part of her Boston Underworld series. Highly recommend the whole series. There's 6 books in them. This is an older series, and I love this series to pieces. This is definitely my favorite book in the series, though. So this series is following kind of the Irish mob, and so the heroine here is part of the Irish mobsters, and it's the second book in the series, but you could definitely read these books on their own, but you'll get like a better appreciation if you read them all in order to kind of meet the characters and know all of those kind of like references to one another. And so this one is so good. This hero is one of my all-time favorite heroes. He should just be like protected at all costs. Very much one of those heroes who has a broken, broody, mysterious, sad, tragic past, which I just eat up and love. And so in here, the hero's like that. The heroine as well has some trauma in her past. And so I love just seeing these two very broken characters with tragic pasts be there for one another. They kind of have a shared secret between them. And in here, you see how the hero is kind of trying to stay out of her life, but is always kind of in the distance, trying to keep her safe, protect her. And it goes from there. I love this one to pieces. A very emotional, like more tragic past, like I mentioned. So just know that. So good. Highly recommend Reaper and the whole Boston Underworld series by A. Zavarelli. All right, first up is another series recommendation. So this is the Queens and Monsters series by J.T. Geisinger, and these are the first 2 books in the series that I absolutely love. I actually love the entire series, but we'll just talk about these 2 books first. So the first book is Ruthless Creatures, again by J.T. Geisinger. This is an older cover. I read this series years ago, and this series has since been picked up by a publisher and is getting republished, so you can actually find it at bookstores now, which I love that so much. This one, I just love it to pieces. It's definitely like one of those books where it grabs you like the whole series. They're just so fun, so addicting, over the top and dramatic, but like it's mafia romance, so what do you expect? This one, the teasing, the chemistry, the dirty talk is so good. I love this book to pieces. So in this book, the heroine is a middle school art teacher, and her fiance disappeared on their wedding day 5 years ago. And so she's just kind of living on her own in her apartment, and she gets this new neighbor, and it's this new hot guy who of course is the hero. And he just like keeps popping up everywhere around her, everywhere in her life. And it kind of goes from there, and it's just so good and addicting. I love the couple in this one and their chemistry. Like I mentioned, this is the start of the series, so you kind of get introduced to the friend group and the other people you're going to be following in different books in the series. And it's just so much fun. And I feel like when you're reading mafia romances, you're already expecting these possessive, obsessed, direct heroes, very much alpha heroes. The hero in this one is all of that and more. And in here, I really enjoyed how there's a lot of like consent talk with some of the like maybe BDSM style things that they do together. It's so much fun. I love this one to pieces. Highly recommend. And then the second book in the series is Carnal Urges, again by J.T. Geisinger. I know this one is a lot of people's favorite in the series. Honestly, all 4 books in the series I gave 5 stars to, but I feel like book 1, it just really like holds my attention a little bit more. But this one is so good as well. Like I said, another 5-star book. This one has a captivity situation where the heroine here, she's best friends with the heroine of book 1, and she's very sassy, opinionated, and she's just so funny. She had me laughing so many times in this book. And so it is a captivity situation. Like I mentioned, this whole series is just so much fun. Highly recommend. Next up is Broken Whispers by Neva Altej. So this is book 2 in her Perfectly Imperfect series. This is a series that are definitely standalones. They kind of exist around the same group of characters, but you could totally read them in any order. I actually read this book first, then went back and read book 1, which wasn't my favorite, so I highly recommend book 2. So the hero in this one is known as the Bratva's Butcher, where he basically is the enforcer, and his job is to kind of get secrets or things pulled out of people however he sees fit. So definitely violence on page. The hero I really enjoy in this one because he is scarred all over. He actually wears an eye patch, and he also is somebody who doesn't like to be touched. That is of course until the heroine comes into his life. She's a ballerina, and she's basically forced to marry him for reasons. So this one's actually an arranged marriage where the hero has actually been watching the heroine for years. She's a ballerina, and when she was younger, she was in an accident that she has never spoken since then. And so the hero has always followed her performances. He will go to her shows, and he's always left like one single yellow rose at the end of her shows. And so when he finds out that there's kind of an arranged marriage situation between her and somebody in the mafia, he decides to volunteer and is like, I will gladly be the one to marry her. And so it kind of goes from there. It's so good. The disability rep for both of the characters I really enjoyed. This was a really fun intro to the series. I need to continue on because I haven't read some of the other ones, but this one is my favorite currently. All right, and the next up is Empire of Temptation by Mila Finelli. This is the start of another series by this author. So this is the New York State of Mafia series, and this series is kind of like Small Town meets Mafia. So in here they take place in New York, and in here the heroine is actually a restaurateur where she owns kind of a family business, a family restaurant that's kind of failing. And so you see that the hero, he comes in and comes to her restaurant one night, and he's very intrigued in both her and the restaurant. And so he decides to kind of become a part of her life, help her out. He's very wealthy, and so he wants to just like spend a ton of money on fixing up the restaurant and just be very like opinionated in her business. So it kind of goes from there. This one also has a secret identity, hidden identity, because the hero, of course, is in the mafia. He doesn't tell the heroine, and he's in her life for maybe more than the reasons of just her restaurant. And it goes from there. It's just really fun and a good like start to the series. So then if you enjoy that one, the next book in the series is Empire of Seduction. It comes out the end of June. This one as well is kind of that small town meets mafia. So in here, the heroine and her brother own their family's winery together. And at the beginning of the story, you see her brother actually ends up gambling away, losing their family's business. And the hero is now the owner of their winery. And so he's in the mafia, and you realize that the heroine and the hero actually had a one-night stand previously. And so now they're back in one another's lives, and she's very angry because she's very hands-on involved in her family's winery, and now the hero is the boss of it, making all of the financial decisions. And so it kind of goes from there. Another one where the hero is very wealthy and just wants to like spoil, take care of the heroine, as well as fix up her family business. So like throw all the money for all the upgrades and things that they couldn't afford. And it goes from there, just super fun of like that small town / business owners meets mafia. All right, so those are all the Mafia romance recs that I have to recommend for you today. Definitely let me know if you're going to pick any of these up, or if you've read any of these. I would love to know. If you have any Mafia romance recs for me, definitely leave them in the comments, because I'm always looking for more to pick up. And like I mentioned, if you missed any of the titles or authors, or you want to go back and grab any of them, they're all in the description of the video for you. And if you'd rather leave me an emoji in the comments today to let me know that you watched this video, leave me a black heart for all of these dark romances. So do that. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye!